Hello everyone, I would like to warmly welcome you all. I'm delighted that you are here to learn about innovation management. My name is Dr. Albert Liberski. I won't bore you with too many details about myself. I believe it is more important to evaluate the content rather than the person delivering it. So let's base our relationship on trust. Assume that I am the right person to talk to you about innovation management, and during our lectures I will gradually prove that this assumption is entirely valid. Everything you will learn is based on literature or expert opinion. The entire knowledge base will be available to you through Facebook. I'm aware that the Facebook is a platform often associated with older users, but please consider that in your professional life you will be working with people like me or even older. Therefore, having some proficiency in using Facebook may come in handy for you. Alright, if the entire knowledge base is accessible to you through Facebook, then what is my role? What value do I bring? My task is to present you with narrative that will help you navigate efficiently in the vast space of knowledge related to innovation management. The title of our course is Practical Approach to Innovation Management. We will use tools such as case studies, and I will make an effort to monitor your understanding in real time. We will also emphasize practical exercises. The goal is to ensure that you internalize acquired knowledge in a way that allows you to apply it at any stage of your career. Let's discuss the topics covered in our lecture series. All 19 lectures cover important aspects of innovation management. However, I have arranged them in the order of importance. I'm curious about your opinion regarding this order. The first lecture focuses on the place and the role of innovation management in an organization. We will discuss the benefits and inclusiveness of the innovation process. We will answer important questions about when to start practicing innovation management. I will also talk about benefits you can expect as innovation managers. I will highlight the uniqueness of this role and its potential for your personal development. The second lecture is titled The Physiology of Innovation and its place in the work-life balance. Physiology of innovation is of course a figurative term referring to the physiology of the human being who generates innovation. It turns out that there are biochemical conditions that must be met for the person to be creative and generate ideas. This is directly related with the place of innovation in the work-life balance, or as some prefer to call it, the work-life mix. As the innovation managers, you will be responsible for placing the creative process within the work-life balance in the way that benefits both the work and life segment without degrading either of them. This applies not only to yourselves, but also to your colleagues. The third lecture will discuss the topic of teams and their moderation in the innovation process. It is important to remember that the innovation is an individual and team discipline. Certain elements of the innovation process must be carried out within the team. But there are also stages where you need to work individually. Your role is to recognize those stages and provide necessary conditions for their execution. The fourth lecture will be dedicated to the two modes of innovation management, the slow mode and the fast mode. Both methods should be used in specific places and times to be productive. If you join an organization where the team already operates in the highly creative state, you will need to use appropriate tools. Otherwise, you will bring more trouble than gains. The fifth lecture will focus on managing innovation outside the organization. You will also learn how to communicate about innovation without lowering its value. If you describe your company's innovative activities improperly in the public sphere, the competitors may take advantage of it. They may fill the gap more efficiently, for example. I will present solutions that will help you avoid such a situation. The sixth lecture will discuss the tools available to you for monitoring competition in innovation management. The goal is to systematically gather knowledge from the environment and understand where you excel and what needs improvement. The seventh and eighth lectures cover the basic concepts of innovation management in an intuitive and rigorous approach. You may wonder why we discuss fundamental concepts late in the lecture series. The reason is that each of us has an intuitive vision of what innovation is and how it should be implemented. I want to take special care of your natural understanding of these concepts. Discussing the fundamental concept later aims to support your flexibility. You need to remember that in your work you will encounter people with specific vision of innovation. Flexibility will help you adapt and communicate efficiently. The goal of the ninth lecture is to discuss predispositions and key competencies that innovation manager must possess. Don't worry, it's not that on the ninth lecture you will find out that you are not suitable for this profession. The aim is for you to assess your strengths and identify any deficiencies. You will also be introduced to the training methods that will help you mitigate these deficiencies and build on your strengths. Our 10th meeting will focus on risk estimation, which is an integral element of innovation implementation. You will receive the necessary tools to effectively assess risk. We will also discuss the black swan effect. This will lay the foundation for you to discuss risk matters in a way that is appropriate for your adversary's risk tolerance, both as a team and individually. It is crucial to communicate about the risk in a manner that enables the most rational decision-making regarding taking on that risk. During the 11th lecture, we will delve into measuring the effectiveness of innovation. Remember that there are two types of innovation: real innovation and perceived innovation. The impact of real innovation is measurable. In the case of perceived innovation, it may refer to change in mindset, overall improvement in quality, or the positive influence of innovation in a broader social domain. Both types of innovation can be valuable in your career, but only if you can distinguish in between them. The 12th lecture will explore quantitative and qualitative research methods available in innovation management. We will pay special attention to the phenomenon of replication crisis. This problem is unlikely to be solved during the next few decades. Therefore, it's almost certain that you will have to deal with a replication issue during your career. It is important to maintain a healthy skepticism toward research results that come your way and approach your own research in an honest manner to draw valuable conclusions. In the 13th lecture, you will be equipped with the necessary tools to assess the profitability of innovation. Based on case studies, we will consider instances when such calculation prove accurate, as well as examples of underestimating or overestimating profitability. We will try to identify the causes of discrepancies in this regard. The 14th meeting will familiarize you with negotiation scenarios useful in innovation management. negotiation will be a part of your everyday work. However, you cannot avoid specific situations for which you need proper preparation through exercises. 15th lecture will focus on collaboration with experts. If you seek help outside of the organization, it is natural to assume that the expert's knowledge suppresses yours. This creates a certain advantage that the expert is aware of. The art lies in maximizing the expertise and not being overwhelmed, even if you highly value the ongoing expert opinion. The 16th lecture will discuss the portfolio of tools available through social media. Expect that instruments at your disposal will evolve, so you must carefully observe new players. Nonetheless, you need to have basic tools at your fingertips and be proficient in using them efficiently. Lecture 17 serves the purpose of examining the market from the two angles: as the ultimate evaluator of our innovative actions and as a valuable tool for the current diagnostics. The specific strategy employed in this context may vary depending on organization size, but the market's cognitive influence can be utilized by most organizations. Let's delve into some examples that illustrate the practical applications of market analysis. During our 18th session, our main focus will be on the topic of securing external funding for innovation. In this discussion, we won't shy away from presenting some candid truth. However, it is important to note that these truths are not meant to discourage you from seeking funds. Instead, their purpose is to provide a realistic perspective and equip you with the resilience needed to overcome challenges effectively. In our 19th lecture, we will dedicate our time to answering the question of whether innovation improves our lives based on the case studies. Despite appearances, the answer is not obvious. Throughout your career, you will likely have to confront questions such as, does what I do, what my organization does, help people? Do we have a positive impact on the world around us? The answer to these questions may change along your journey, but regardless, one must be equipped with intellectual resources to navigate such inquiries. It is important to continuously evaluate the effects of our actions and drive for improvement. Innovation can play a crucial role in this process, as it encourages us to challenge the status quo and seek better solutions. Innovation, however, should not be pursued for its own sake. It must be accomplished with a comprehensive assessment of its potential benefits and consequences. We must remain mindful of the ethical implications of our innovation and ensure that they align with the values we hold dear. In this lecture, with real-life examples, we will examine how different innovations have affected various aspects of our lives. By doing so, we hope to gain insight into the true impact of innovation and its potential for enhancing our well-being.
And now I have a special bonus section for all the ambitious students who love to go the extra mile.
To embark on the journey of innovation management, especially in an academic context, one must first confront a fundamental contradiction. I must clarify that I won't provide you with an obvious recipe for dealing with this contradiction. On the contrary, I encourage you to try and find the answers yourself, while also sharing your opinions. Innovation, you see, implies breaking free from boundaries, rejecting established patterns, and breaking rigid rules. If that's the case, then by structuring the topic of innovation management in the form of lectures, aren't we creating a framework that restricts the essence of innovation itself? We find ourselves in a peculiar Oedipus complex. One could say we face a much more difficult situation than the king of Thebes, because we already know that sooner or later we will have to destroy or challenge what we are learning. Nevertheless, we must be prepared for it. However, the situation is not hopeless. Notice that the fruits of knowledge become more valuable the less original they are. Let's consider the above statement in a philosophical context. When we experience a traumatic event, when someone harms us, the question, why did this happen to me, typically arises. Ironically, we don't ask that question when we encounter happiness. But let's get back to traumatic scenario. Why did it happen to me? Such analysis is acceptable. However, if you fixate on seeking answers, it will ultimately have a negative impact on our perception of reality and harm us in the long run. Suddenly someone comes along and states that if you gaze long into abyss, the abyss will gaze back into you. This philosophical spark, attributed to Nietzsche, is unoriginal in essence, yet simultaneously helpful because it doesn't leave us alone and assists us in accepting reality as it is. There are even more practical philosophical notions of non-originality, such as Kant's idea that one cannot pretend something doesn't exist. This relieves us of many empty efforts. Recently, I had a conversation with a colleague who suggested that we will write an article about lack of knowledge transfer from industrial sector to academia. From the academia to industry, it seems to work, but not the other way around. After a brief discussion, we concluded that it is impossible to prove the thesis that something doesn't exist. We can talk about knowledge transfer occurring, but with limited scope. Similarly, when the police officer asks us to prove that we weren't present at a specific location at a certain time, thanks to Kant, we can feel exempt from such proof. But there are also more amusing examples. Have you ever considered the idea that everything around you is your own invention? Shakespeare's works don't exist. You simply wrote them and marvel at them. Even in this non-modest approach, George Berkeley doesn't leave us isolated. He believed that reality exists only in our consciousness. And here, a common phenomenon, framed and named, gives us a shared denominator to relate to. Let's leave philosophy aside and focus on the fact that scientific research only makes sense when it can be replicated. They gain value as originality diminishes. Where the good scientists of our time publish their original research findings in journals like Nature, Science, Lancet, or Cell. But let's note that those original findings acquire value and become part of the knowledge only if somebody makes an effort to reproduce them. And where do the greatest scientists of all time publish, or rather get cited? In the textbooks for 4th grade elementary school. Their observations are so unoriginal that even children should be aware of them. As the old German proverb says, to knock down the pins, you must first set them up. We leave you with this contradiction until our next meeting. Try to find a solution to the problem of the purpose of your presence here. Thank you all very much for your attention, and I look forward to our next meeting.